everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Discord Social SDK going live with communication features. I'm Mark Mandel. I'm part of the developer relations team. I'm glad you could all join us today. Today, I am joined by two wonderful people who work at Discord, who have been working very closely on what we're talking about today, the Social SDK communication features. But before we get stuck into that, why don't you two introduce yourself to our delightful audience? John, why don't you go first? Because Mason was trying to make trouble happen. So, John, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm John Clark. I'm a producer at Discord. Most of my time at Discord has been focused on the activities and activities platform. And recently I started helping out with Social SDK and primarily focused in on like developer facing features and communication features and requirements there. So happy to talk about that today.
Mason.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you again, or some of you for the first time. I'm Mason. I'm on the product team here at Discord. This is my server. You all just live in it. I've worn a bunch of different hats here over the years that some of you probably know me from. Right now, I'm sort of running things on the Social SDK side, helping come up with the features that we're doing and making it easier to integrate, taking all of your really helpful feedback and just trying to make this a better experience for developers. So I'm really excited to come and talk about the stuff that you can now freely do, which before was kind of who knows how you did it. And I'm excited to see all the things y'all make.
Brilliant. Awesome. So before we get started, shall we do a little summary of like what the communication features are on the Social SDK and like what that entails and like what is this doohickey thing that we're talking about?
Yeah, I can take it.
Sounds good.
So if you've been developing on Discord for a while, you've probably seen us do a bunch of different kinds of SDKs over the years and sort of see the features evolve and wrap up into the next version of things. So Social SDK is our latest and greatest. It includes some hits like rich presence and game invites, as well as some new stuff like the communications features. Unless you're really, really old and know about GameBridge. If you know, you know. Oh shoot, I lost my whole train of thought. The Social SDK is like an in-game, in-client SDK that we support on like pretty much all the major platforms, mobile, desktop, consoles, as long as it's not Nintendo Switch. We're trying, I promise. And on the communication side of things, we help bring chat directly to your game powered by Discord. You can do voice chat powered by Discord. You can do text chat powered by Discord. You can also do some fun stuff like DMs between users that will also let you talk to somebody even if they're offline. So if I'm playing a game and Mark is not currently playing it, I can still message him and it'll show up in his Discord. As well as our very cool feature called link channels, which is for like in-game guilds or clans. And you can link that chat like to a text chat in a Discord server, and the chat will be mirrored in both places. So when I'm playing World of Warcraft and I am not currently in the game, I can still participate in my guild chat. They can see what I'm saying. I can see what they're saying. The whole Social SDK was launched earlier this year at GDC in March. And these communication features just recently became widely available at Gamescom like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Brilliant. Shall we actually, John, do you want to we're gonna step through some of the documentation and basically go through the guide and sort of explain it as we go, but maybe we throw it up on screen. That might be nice.
Yeah. Is that coming through okay?
That looks good to me. So I think we pasted that in chat. This is the documentation communication features. I was going to suggest, where do we want to start? Maybe we talked a little bit about messaging communications, lobbies, and game chats. Rate limits?
Rate limits. So basically with the release of communication features, anyone who downloads the SDK can implement any part of the SDK. The catch to that is that you can't release communication features at scale without first applying for rate limit removal. The reason for that is we rate limit some of the interactions that Mason just described. So basically, the SDK is available. You can integrate it in your game as a developer. You can test it at very small scale. But the interactions for SDK are limited to what you see here. 20 request amounts for create and join lobbies, sending messages, direct messages, or to lobbies, that sort of thing. That's rate limits. Mason, anything you would add there before we go to removal?
Yeah, like John said, some of these things are like somewhat heavily rate limited. The goal being that we want you to be able to build proofs of concept. We want you to have access to these features in a way that lets you actually put an integration together, do some internal playtesting with your game and your other developers, and like get a working prototype so that you can eventually show it to us and apply for rate limit removal, which we'll get into now.
Yeah. So before I go into the details of rate limit removal, our approach here really came from a perspective of it's I don't know, kind of a motto that we have in the rest of Discord, which is like look for win-win-win solutions that are a win for players, in that, you know, if you're using social SDK, players are going to have more moments of connection, more moments of discovery of games that they enjoy. It's a win for Discord because obviously players having those moments means more Discord usage and more Discord exposure. And then a win for devs because all of that comes down to more player engagement, more player re-engagement, reasons to revisit your game. All my friends are there and I can talk to them, right? So that was kind of like the core approach to a lot of these requirements. Going into this, we wanted these to be clear and specific, measurable, and rational. Before I was at Discord, most of my career was focused on game development and being a game developer. And anybody who has applied to, say, release on a certain platform or access to a certain tool, those three tenets were really important to me from just a personal perspective, and like having to work through the requirements for a number of platforms. So clear and specific. Ideally, all of these are unambiguous. They don't leave much room for interpretation. And what constitutes, what actually qualifies versus what doesn't. Measurable in that they're quantifiable. Whether or not you've hit the mark, and rational, like we're giving you the reasoning behind whatever it is that we're requiring for rate limit removal. Rate limit removal. Basically, the way you go about doing this, so I'm going to move this to my main screen, is there's a place in the developer portal that you can go to apply for removing rate limits on your game. This is after you've got an application within your dev portal, and it's essentially under Discord Social SDK, and comms access is how you access it. And the application itself has 5 major things associated with it. So, and really these are just 3 things. So the first 3 things here are what your application needs to have. And then the last 2 things are basically the supporting materials to prove what you have in your application. And then the 5th one is reference to our existing policy that you're already familiar with when it comes to protecting users and age-restricted users. So these 3 things, right? Minimum required feature set. Basically, there's a set of features from the social SDK that we want any game with an integration to have. So you have to have at least these things. Feature functionality. If you put it in your game, it should work, right? Like that's good for you. That's good for Discord, and good for any player playing your game. And so a lot of this section with feature functionality goes into what just base level functionality looks like for each of these features. It's got a summary of them and also calls out kind of common gotchas that we've seen with previous integrations. And then access and conveyance. This is really beyond having the right features and making sure they work. This is making sure they work well. So we don't go super deep into requirements beyond base level functionality, but we do mention a couple of things here, primarily with Discord account linking that we mentioned as best practices. And everything that you're going to see here really comes out of a lot of conversations that we've had with partner developers and general access developers and the feedback there. So as you download this and go into it, please continue to provide your feedback and like directly influence what this became, the requirements that we decided on. All right, minimum required feature set. So this is our first section. These are the features that you have to have in order to remove rate limits. And the features that we mentioned are an option for Discord account linking. We don't require that players link their Discord accounts. That's entirely optional, but we do require that they have the option to do it. So that is Discord account linking, or the option to have it. Rich presence and Discord joins. Mason mentioned this. Rich presence, pretty core kind of conveyance and engagement feature in Discord, seeing what your friends can do or are doing at any moment, being able to join in on that. And then access to Discord friends. So this notion, one of the things that Social SDK lets you do is put Discord friends directly into your game. And so the requirement here is basically, if I expect to be able to do something with my friends, like invite them or message them or block them, then I should be able to do that with the integration in game as well, which of course the Social SDK entirely supports, but as mentioned as a requirement here. Those are the required features. We get into a longer page or a longer section here, which I won't go into like full depth for, but I'll describe kind of what you're seeing. So this is where we define feature functionality. The whole format of this is basically whatever feature you might be using. First one mentioned here is Discord account linking. It describes the intended use of that feature. This is what we think, we've designed the feature to be used as, and how we think it's most helpful to you and to your game. Then we briefly describe like an example user flow, just because there's a lot of interpretation that can happen with one sentence of description for a feature. So we describe what a player would experience or should experience if you're using a particular social SDK feature in terms of their flow and UX. And then we describe negative options to resolve. And negative options is an entirely made up phrase because I couldn't come up with something better. But the reason we mention these for each of them, negative options are effectively if a user denies something, or if they enter a fail state of some sort, or if there's an error of some sort, we want to make sure that developers are resolving that in a way that the user understands, right? So just looking at account linking here, an example of that is like, if a user doesn't accept authorization for data and using the given Discord social SDK feature, then that should resolve normally. Basically, we've seen examples of integrations where access continues, or the user gets kicked out of the game. So that's why these are mentioned here as negative options. So we've got Discord account linking, rich presence, which I already mentioned before. examples and negative options there are connectivity issues. So making sure that presence updates continue and retry if there's a connection issue in your game. Active and inactive clients, making sure that invites resolve correctly on clients, even if they're actively playing the game versus not. Unified friends list. So this is what I mentioned about being able to put Discord friends directly into your game if you've integrated with the social SDK. We should be able to, or users should be able to remove friends, block friends, obviously message them, make sure that loading failures resolve correctly. So if you pull the list and for one reason or another, data fails to retrieve, making sure you try to repull or flag an error message of some sort. Direct messages, DMs, through Discord. Also, core functionality mentioned here goes through message failure delivery, network issues, link channels, which Mason mentioned, and the complete user flow here as well. And voice comms, which are exactly what they sound like, basically. Being on a voice call within game, powered by Discord. And Mason, feel free to jump in if I run roughshod over something, but otherwise I'll keep moving forward. So feature access and conveyance. This is the part that I mentioned before. Everything up till now is like, hey, at a minimum, you should have these features in your game to remove rate limits. They should work, and this is how we would expect them to work. And then this last part is like, and these features should be great in these ways, right? So Discord account linking, basically the access requirements here are users should be able to find the option to link their Discord account somehow, right? So they should not be hidden within submenus and menus, but rather relatively easy to access in parity with other places that you would link other accounts, that sort of thing. And then conveyance requirements. This is basically good UX, but we felt compelled to put this here, right? So it's like, try to let users know about why they should or shouldn't link their Discord account. Like, what are the benefits associated with that? Have informational screens, contextual tooltips. Those are the requirements there. And direct messaging through Discord. So these are basically identifying where and letting players know where a message is coming from or going to. One of the great benefits of the social SDK is that Discord is kind of a platform agnostic solution for communications, right? So if my game is on both PC and a console of some sort, those players can talk to each other regardless, and have Discord be a common space for that communication to happen. And then lastly, supporting materials and user protection. Supporting materials, this is what your application looks like, right? So basically we ask that you let us know what features you chose to integrate. Generally speaking, if you're not released, when you expect to release. And then we ask that you have a short capture. So this is just of the integrated features. Described here as 1 to 5 minute video capture of a typical user flow for each SDK feature. This was really meant to be as lightweight as we could make it, but still like gain a good understanding of what your integration looks like, what you want the experience to be for users who are going to be playing your game and using these social SDK features. And that's effectively it for requirements. There's a very helpful link to our social SDK terms here, which I encourage everybody to take a look at. It's got very good information for how to use the social SDK and what you should be considering. And then we've got a few calls to action here for other parts of the SDK and development guides to learn more. But those are the requirements. That's basically the expectations that we wanted to put forward for anybody who wants to use social SDK and release at scale with communications features. We tried to make this as like clean and clear and easy to understand as possible. But of course, we don't get everything right the first time. So if you have any sort of feedback, please provide that open ears. But I think we got to a good place here.
I have questions.
Thank you.
Mason, is there anything you wanted to add before I start asking questions, some of which came from chat?
Yeah. Are you going to ask sort of like the when should I apply?
That was actually the first question I was going to start with. Yes.
Okay. Then let me sort of say something on top of that first. For those of you that have shipped games on like console platforms before specifically, you're probably pretty familiar, as John said, with like very long certification processes and checklists. For those of you that haven't, or have primarily done PC development, or maybe building your first game or something like that, we recognize that this can look like a lot of text and a very long list. And I want to sort of just say, like, our goals of having these requirements is not just because we want y'all to do a bunch of work and we think it's fun for you to write more code. We've had quite a few games launch at this point, including some really big partners like Marvel Rivals. We've seen a lot of different versions of this integration being done, and we've learned a lot about why it is good for the game to do this well. In some of our marketing material that you might have seen, or I don't know if we've rolled out these numbers yet, but I know that they are validated and okay to share, so I'm going to say them anyway. Like, when you do a good job integrating, it directly impacts how people play your game and like how much they play it in the success of your game. We've seen good integrations do as well as making players play 50% more than they would otherwise when they don't link their accounts, translating to like 8% more daily players for some games, which is like a massive thing. But it is all really due to like making the most of it and not just putting the SDK inside and calling it a day. So our goal to sort of have these requirements and have this guidance, again, is not just to make you all write more code. We want to make sure that what you're giving your players is going to like give you the benefit that we say that it should, and help you like learn some of those lessons from some launches that we've seen in the past that maybe weren't as great.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Basically, all of this was stoked out of what we've seen work and what we have like has not worked in the past, and it basically started and ended there.
So go back to the question that you first mentioned, Mason. Like, when's a good time to start this application process? Is it like way at the beginning? Is it towards the end? Is it somewhere in the middle? What's good timing here?
We really want to see the MVP. Like the reason that the features are available in a rate limited way and not just blocked altogether is because we want you to be able to build the thing, not launch it to an entire 100,000 player user base, but enough to like get meaningful testing, to have a video demo of like, this is what I'm building and how it works, and I can prove that it does in fact work with the features that I've got. So if you just want to give stuff a try, see if it works, see how far you can get, go free. You do not have to apply for rate limits. They are like generous enough to let you build the thing. Come back to us when you're ready to like fully launch your game and you need to support a bunch of people and you're like, you know that what you've got meets the requirements that are laid out here, and we'll take a look.
Which also, like, I think to the second question I was going to sort of ask, which is like, what does a good submission look like? If you haven't got an MVP of a game, you can't do the video evidence to show that the thing works, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's your good submission looks like a good integration in your game, basically, because it's just a capture of your game.
Do we have any sense on how long submissions usually take to at least get first response, or what sort of time frame people are looking at with that?
I should know this offhand in terms of what our SLAs look like. I can tell you that I feel like within a couple of weeks is entirely reasonable in terms of at least hearing something back from us, and then more than likely, like you'll have a contact or basically a response within a few days.
Nice. There was another thing that came up in chat that I thought was interesting. Someone was asking about building game mods and whether they could do that with the social SDK or like get rate limit approval on that. What are your thoughts on that? Could be we'll get back to you. I don't know right now.
Totally fair. I'm not sure. Mason, do you have any thoughts there?
We haven't had any submissions for mods come through yet, so I cannot give you any history. But I do think that like we understand the hard work that people put into mods and the value that they bring to online games, some of which are, older, newer, but generally big player bases. And so while it will come down to specifics, I think that we want to be supportive of people making cool stuff.
That seems fair. Also, just thinking through, like, if it's a single player game that you're building a mod for, adding rich presence or something like that is not rate limited. Like, this is very specifically the communication.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, this is very specifically chat stuff.
Yeah. And actually, just to reiterate that, so there's quite a bit you can do with the social SDK before you even ask the question as to whether or not should I remove rate limits or not. Only apply to communication features like text chat and voice chat, lobbies, that sort of thing.
The other thing I wanted to maybe point out as well on here is that we have links to all our design guides that kind of show what good it looks like. And if you want to, in case people haven't seen them, they're generally pretty great. So if you want a visual representation of what that looks like, we have those available in here. They should be linked in each of the sections, putting you on the spot.
I'll sort of voice it over as you do that. If you are building and you want to know what we think great looks like, these design guidelines are really good. There's even like cool tools that we've given you, like a Figma prototype file where you can like build a friends list using your game components. So like, exactly sort of how we'd want it to look and stuff like that. It's very neat. I will say, generally speaking, for those of you thinking about like doing the UI side of this work, we don't want to be prescriptive in UI. We don't want to tell you that things have to be a certain color or everything has to be blurple or menus in certain ways or whatever it might be. We want to make sure that the features that we're giving you make sense in your game for your players. What we do want to help you understand is the UX. Here's sort of how we expect somebody to use this feature. Here's, when given a friends list, the things that we expect people to be able to do with it, like send invites or send a message, instead of just, here's a list of people that you might know and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Just speaking to the requirements, that was always kind of a give and take. Like we didn't want to be so prescriptive that it didn't leave room for development and like basically build the integration in a way that made sense for their game, not for literally every game in existence, right? So, but at the same time, we wanted to do what Mason described, right? It's like give a description of the intended UX, the user experience that should be there.
Do you want to click on one of those? I think the Unified Friends List is the one that has. I think that's the one that has the
Unified Friends List.
I think that has the Figma in it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the one with the.
Yeah, here we go. The see Figma resource.
This is nice.
And then Figma. Let's hope I'm logged into Figma.
Looks like it.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay.
gonna say not to make you choose favorites. Do you have a particular game that you've gone, oh, that's games plural? I'll say games plural that you've gone, that's a particularly good integration they've done there, or a particular, like this particular aspect of maybe how they've done the friends list or voice chat or something that people could go look at?
We were just talking about one this morning, Mason, but the name is escaping me. It was in Partnership Sync.
That one might not be launched yet. That might be
secret. Secret one. Secret.
You can't say that one.
A secret one.
But if you're the developer, good on you. You did great. What do you think?
I think Supervive is a really great example of a well-built friends list and like invite system. It's free to play, and it's also a really cool game. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. They were an early partner with us, like did a lot of work to help us figure out initial features and learn some of that guidance. And they've been like successful with the SDK. So they've done a really good job building a friends list, making sure that you can take the right actions from it, all of that stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely worth playing. I like Supervive as well. And I'm just kind of, meandering around this Figma, but there are a whole bunch of different examples here of integrations, how you could do friends lists in games. And then even beyond that, sections specifically for other features besides friends lists as well, right? So key best practices, branding guidelines, direct messages, basically how should those appear, that sort of stuff. Definitely go to our design guidelines. Our design team did a good job.
Brilliant. I think I'm running out of questions. Do you all two have anything else you want to mention before, unless anyone else is going to drop anything at the last minute in chat, but do you have anything you want to mention or make sure to promote before we finish things up here? Seeing some people typing. I'll give people a moment though. John, Mason, now you're feeling pretty good. Feel like you covered all the things you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I guess just a personal note for me, it's been really cool to like start as a game developer and then come to a company like Discord and provide something like this to developers. So it's been a little bit of a full circle thing, and I don't know. I'm just so excited to see what the development community does with this, because I think it's kind of the best of all possible worlds for developers and players, and hopefully Discord.
Yeah, I'll say for me, like I sort of said at the top, I've been at Discord for 8 years at this point. I've touched pretty much SDK that you've seen me come up here and talk about in various ways. GameBridge, Original Rich Presence, Discord Connect for the couple of you that might remember that. Different versions of all of these things. The Game SDK, notable mention I just forgot about on that list. For me, it's been very cool to see the evolution of a lot of these features, like Rich Presence, like Game Invites, into this SDK, into a thing that feels complete and cohesive and like really works together with a friends list that you can send invites from and chat that works, even if you don't have a Discord account, and we can still make your game great. Like just internally seeing us do a lot of these things, it feels like we've really nailed something great for developers, and developers are seeing success because of it. So I'm very happy that I get to be here and tell you all that you can go build with this today, and you should.
Oh, there is a question there about 3D proximity chat.
Oh, good. We were just talking about this yesterday.
So 3D proximity chat is possible with the social SDK, but not directly integrated with it, right? So if as a developer you want proximity chat, you can use the SDK basically as signifiers to power that, but you'll still need a third-party solution for the proximity chat itself.
Yeah, we give you like the raw audio stream, so you can do with those what you will. I'm stealing your thunder. I saw another question about provisional accounts, so I'll talk about those very briefly. We've talked about a bunch of really cool features that the SDK enables, and I think one of the things that sometimes goes unnoticed is that not only does this SDK give all of your like linked Discord players a great experience, but it does all of this stuff even if people don't have a Discord account through these like provisional account token things that we have. They work on mobile, on console, on PC. So if you have players of your game that don't use Discord or maybe don't want to connect their accounts, you can still build a friends list with the Discord SDK. You can let them use voice and text chat. You can let them use game invites. All of this stuff works, even if they don't have a linked account.
Anthony has a good question. Mason, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the raw audio streams that a developer receives would be separate for each, basically voice participant, right? And allow for mixing there, or are they all together?
That's a check the docs question, I think. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
And I won't say either way either. I'm probably blowing smoke.
Now you've got me looking at the docs.
Good thing we have them.
I feel like
shout out
it's
to
separate
Devrel for writing great docs.
And a lot of the engineering team who did a lot of the reference work. So like team efforts. So there is a callback system that allows you to get access to the raw audio. Where is it? Start call with callback. Perfect. There we go. Actually, we might have to dig into that a little later. I feel like it is called user audio, so I'm going to assume that it probably. That's a good question.
If it's possible, maybe it'd be a cool like guide that we could write in the future of like how to do stuff like proximity voice with the SDK, even though it's not built in. Like, here's how you might be able to go and do it.
Right. Yeah, it's come up a couple of times in conversations. So
we do have a doc in our development guide and managing voice chat, and I will link to it, which is advanced audio processing. I will link in chat, which has some guides in there on how to use that callback to get access to that data and also how to manipulate it. But you have both the input and output data. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Don't forget, we have events pretty much about once or twice a month. So check out the events tab in the Discord developers channel. Please fill out the survey, which I linked once more. And thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you all next time.